You want all these things, you're saying all these things, you're believing all these things, but have you taken a step of faith? Have you taken a trust fall toward this? The second you took that trust fall, things started happening. Hey, everybody, like what you see, Luxe Life with Candice Bar, or any of the Luxe Media Studios shows, make sure you subscribe and click the like below. Hey, everybody, welcome to Luxe Life. I'm your host, Candice Bar. We are so excited for today. We have Ruffino with us.
How's it going?
Hey, how's it going? Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Thank you. So I found you on Instagram. I actually forget who had brought you up, and I was like, "Who's this guy?" So for anyone who's living under a rock and may not know who you are, what you do, can you please let everyone know who you are and what you do?
So I have a company. I'm founder of a company called Clients on Demand, and we work with coaches, consultants, experts, authors, speakers, and help them take their expertise and turn it into a high ticket coaching program that they can sell
Mhm.
online for somewhere in the neighborhood of 5K to a 15K price point, including
Mm.
all the marketing, all the sales, all the delivery, and everything that goes along with that.
How did you get into that?
Well, I started out selling information products online, like ebooks, low ticket stuff, doing like little launches and things here and there. And, did that very successfully for a few years. But then I started to realize that, people were buying my products, they were buying my courses, they were going through my courses, having a great experience. They loved it. But because the price point was so low, people like weren't taking action. So people
Mm,
would be like, "Hey Russ, I bought this video course that you made. It was amazing. Like the $27 one, it was sweet." And I'd be like, "Cool, man. What'd you do with it?" And they'd be like, "Well, I got like bought like five other courses that week too, so I'll get around to it at some point."
mm,
And so eventually, I just realized like people were buying my stuff and they were happy, but they weren't taking action. And so I thought to myself, what if I took this model and I flipped it on its head? Like instead of selling thousands of copies of something for $27,
right.
what if I charged a few $1,000s and then
Yeah.
only worked with like a select number of people? What would happen? And I bet that if I did that, they would start getting much better results. They would show up more committed. They would actually do the work. And that's exactly what happened. And so that was kind of the genesis of this is I realized that you can actually take your expertise and turn it into a program that sells for five or 10 or $15,000 and created all the marketing and everything to go with that and sell it in a ongoing sustainable way.
Mm,
And that was
I
the
love
birth
that.
of the company. Yeah.
And how long have you been doing that for?
We've been doing that since 2013.
Okay. So it's been a while.
10 years. Yeah.
Wow, congratulations. Because most
Yeah.
entrepreneurs, I don't know if you know this fact, you probably do, but most entrepreneurs, first 3 years of business, that's the make it or break it. They either fold or they keep
That's
it
it.
going. And it's
That's
a
it.
it's a low percentage of entrepreneurs that actually make it.
Okay. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
Yeah. So powerhouse. But I want to rewind more. I love the story of people. So
Mhm.
where are you from? And do you come from an entrepreneurial background?
No, no, I fell ass backwards into this. So I was, so I was, my whole life I wanted to be an actor.
Mm,
And I mean, literally my whole life. Like I was doing theater when I was 12. I went to a high school for performing arts. I went and studied theater at UCLA. The whole time I was at UCLA, I was studying at some of the top studios in Los Angeles. And when I graduated from college, I dove into like trying to make it as an actor. So from age 21 to age 31, I was a bartender, which is
okay.
what you do when you're in
What
LA
do you do?
trying to act. Yeah,
Totally. Did you have
you're waiting
did you
tables or
right, did you
you
have
know.
3 or 4 roommates?
No, yeah, no, I usually had one.
Okay,
Yeah, I didn't have 3 or 4. I usually had
okay,
one.
okay.
Um, but yeah, like so I literally that was 10 years and it was 10 years of like, trying to make it,
Mm,
trying to, I met my wife in acting class, she's now my wife. And I was bartending and I turned 31 and I was just like, okay, acting's not working out.
mm.
There's no way I'm going to be a 40-year-old bartender. Like, oh God, what do I do? And literally I remember on my 31st birthday, we went to Vegas and we were sitting in the lobby of the Palazzo. Yeah, the Palazzo
Mm.
at the lobby bar. and I'm literally like sobbing into my bourbon because like my
Mhm.
life just like was not going the way that I wanted it to go. And it was right around that time that I happened to be on break at the bar and I walked into Barnes and Noble and I saw a copy of that book, The 4 Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, this looks interesting. And I just picked it up and started reading it. And that was my first glimpse into this whole world of online entrepreneurship. I didn't even know that stuff existed. Like, I didn't know anything about starting a business or starting a company or starting a virtual company or any of those things. But I read that book and it just blew my mind. And I realized that, yeah, I really liked acting, but a big part of the draw was that I thought that if you really made it as an actor, you had money and you had freedom. Um, and what's ironic is that at the time I had a lot of friends who were making it as actors and they didn't have either of those
Right.
things, which is kind of funny because it's like
Right.
you're working toward this thing and then you realize it's not really what you thought it
Like,
was.
wait a minute.
Yeah. So I went through the book and I thought to myself, you know what, man, like I can do this. Like I don't have any background in marketing or business. I don't know anything about tech. I was like, but I'm smart and I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna try to make this work, try to figure this out. And started promoting a couple different products online, created a couple products and was maybe making $500 a month. So
Okay.
not very much, but it was just enough for me to go, you know what, this is real.
Something
This
to
could be
this.
something.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I thought to myself, you know what, if I quit my bartending job and I did this full time, I bet I could make this work. And so that's exactly what I did. I didn't even have enough money for the following month's rent. Um, but when I quit, it was like something switched on inside me. It
Yeah.
was like I had been asleep for 10 years and all of a sudden I was awake. And anyway, long story short, just crushed it. I made, I think, $250,000 my first year online.
Yes.
I could just do it. Like, but you got to understand, it was like the weirdest thing because, like, again, no background in it whatsoever. It was kind
Right.
of like if you've got like a talent or gift for playing the piano or something, but you've never seen a piano until you're
Right.
30, and then someone
Right.
sits you in front of a piano, and you're like, oh, and you're, oh, I didn't know I could do this. It was like that. It was the weirdest
You
thing, but
probably felt like,
it's
"I wish I
super
did
cool.
this 10 years ago."
Well, 10 years ago, so that would have been 2011. 10 years before was 2001. That, like, this stuff barely
That's
existed back
true,
then,
actually. Like, it was just
you
kind of
know?
booming around, like, 2007, 2008, like, that it was starting to get
Right,
traction. Yes.
right.
Oh, that's I love that. I love people just jumping into the unknown. That's entrepreneurship, and just building the plane as you fly it and see what
Yeah.
shakes out.
Well, you were talking before about the book, right? And manifestation and like getting what you want. And what's really interesting is that, I was doing gratitude and, vision boards and affirmations and all that stuff like in my late 20s. And the truth is any schmuck can make a vision board. You know what
Right,
I mean? Like
right.
anybody can do affirmations. That's the fun part, to sit there and say, oh, I'm a millionaire, I'm a millionaire, I'm a millionaire, whatever. And but one day it occurred to me, like, if I really believe the stuff I'm saying and the affirmations that I'm doing, I would make a move. I would quit my bartending job and I would go for it. And it was like that was the moment that it's like the whole universe woke up.
Totally.
It's like that's like it's like God's watching you and he's like, is this kid serious or what?
Yeah.
And it isn't until you really take the plunge that everything just wakes up and goes, okay, he's for real. And then all the stuff that comes with that.
I love that t and I love what you said is that God's watching or whoever you think is watching, and it's like, you want all these things, you're saying all these things, you're believing all these things, but have you taken a step of faith? Have you taken a trust fall toward this? The second you took
Right.
that trust fall, things started happening, but it's like you're not changing your daily actions to get a different result.
Right. And that's where the rubber meets the road.
Totally.
Like, if you really believe something, what would you do? Right. When you really believe something, it changes your behavior.
Yeah.
And so you can be doing these affirmations and doing whatever, exercises or whatever you want to do. But if you don't start acting as if that's your reality today, and sometimes that means taking very uncomfortable risks,
Yeah.
um,
Actually,
you're not
a lot of the
you're not going to
time.
go there. Yeah, a lot of the time. Yeah, yeah. I mean, like speaking of my actor friends, like I'm really good friends with I don't know if you know who Matt Morrison is. He was the teacher on Glee. He was Mr. Schuester
Okay,
on Glee.
okay.
Yeah. Um, he got offered like a huge role on Broadway. I
Mm,
forget exactly what it was, but he got offered like a role that's going to pay him a few $100,000 a year.
mm,
It would have been like a dream role, but he knew that he wanted to come out to LA and do TV.
mm,
And so he turned it down
mm.
and came out here not knowing if anything would happen or anything would materialize. And like that's when he booked Glee. So it's like I see people from different walks of life that it's like it's not enough to say I want this, I want this, I want this, because life is going to dangle little like lures and distractions in front of you. You have
Yeah.
to not get pulled off to the side and you have to say no, I'm making way for this thing to come into my life.
I call it baby deering it. When baby deers are born, they're trying to walk and it's wobbly, but they're walking anyway. You got a baby deer,
Right.
terrified, unsure, unknown.
Yep.
You just got to take the steps.
Yep.
So I love that. And so you've been doing this for quite some time. How many do you have a team? Is it just you?
No, no, no. It's like it started out, it was just me. I've got, I think 40 people on my team now. We've
Okay.
had over, I want to say over 5,000 clients. We've done very close to, if not over $100 million in revenue. So
Love that.
we've taken the business much, much farther than I ever thought that it could possibly go.
Amazing. I love to hear success stories from people. And I'm sure, I know you dealt with a million different clients, but is there a client in particular that has always stood out in your mind that when you connected with them, they were in one place, and then when you were done with your contract with them, they were completely on a different level?
Yeah, so many of them, but the one that comes to mind. And by the way, this is not an earnings claim. I'm not saying that before my lawyers kill me. I'm
Right.
not saying that if you work with me that you're going to have these same
Happens
results. Nothing
every
like that.
time.
Right, but I'm going to tell this I'm going to tell the story because you asked. Um yeah, so like a great two of the clients that I'm the proudest of are Meg and Alfred. And Meg is a marriage and family therapist in Australia. I think she has a PhD. She was working in her office. She was seeing patients by the hour like you do.
Mm,
And I think they were making like 60K a year or something like that. So I went to Meg and I said, Meg, fundamentally, the outcome that you're providing for your clients is that you're saving their marriage, right? And she said, yes. So I said, okay, great. We're going to work together. We're going to put together an online program, an online workshop that's designed to save people's marriages. And you're
mm,
going to price it at $10,000.
mm.
And it's going to be like an 8-week program. It's all online. So you can reach people from anywhere in the world. And within, I think, 3.5 years, she had gone from doing $50,000 a year to $1 million a month.
Wow.
Yeah, and we've got a lot of people that are just like crushing it along those lines. Again, not promising anybody's
Right.
going to do that, but
It has happened.
it has happened. Yeah, I mean, you asked, so yeah,
Yes, I love that. Now, what do
yeah.
you do? I love asking entrepreneurs these different questions. What do you do if and when you have a difficult client?
Um, well, so define difficult, like
Someone
someone
you
that's not
prefer, actually,
comfortable.
someone you onboarded them, you're doing all their
Yeah.
stuff, but then it just turns out someone you really prefer not to work with.
So the way that I see it is that it's my job to call forth the greatness in people. So it's my job to see the person that you could be, even if you can't see it yourself, and the impact that you could be making. And by the way, speaking of Megan Alfred, the money's great and it's impressive, but what really counts is that they saved 833 marriages last year.
Amazing.
So think
Okay,
about like what that, like how many families that is that are going to like
totally.
stay together,
And
right?
that's generational as well.
Absolutely. So like everything we do is oriented around that. It's like, how can I help you give your gifts to the world in a bigger and more powerful way?
Yeah,
So in order for that to happen, you have to have the goods. You have to have the raw materials. And that what that means is that you've got to have the expertise to solve a major life or business challenge. So we never go to like, some kid working at Pinkberry and go like, "Oh yeah, you can have a high ticket coaching business. Why not?"
right,
It's like you got to really have a solution for people.
right.
Um and so that right there filters out a lot of people that could be a problem, right? The price point also filters out a lot of people because if you're not going to
Absolutely.
spend, a high ticket price for something if you don't really want that outcome. And so it's pretty rare that if that we have somebody come into the program that's just like super difficult or whatever. But again, we're going to call forth the greatness in that person. We're going to say, listen, man, here's the way that you're showing up in this program, and here's where that's going to lead. It's
Right.
not going to get you to the result. It's not going to let you make the impact you were born to make. It's going to sabotage everything, and it's not going to work. So if you want to continue to show up that way, cool. We can go ahead and cancel this whole thing and part friends. But if you're through screwing around and you want to show up coachable and actually make the mark on this world that you were born to make, then
Right.
here's how we need you to show up.
Right.
And most of the time, when you have that very frank discussion with someone, they see, okay, you know what? Russ really is on my side. His team really is on my side. They want me to succeed. Let me get the hell out of my own way and just do what they tell me to do.
Yeah,
And that's
absolutely.
that's where the results are.
I love that. And so how many clients are you able, I know you have a team of 40 now, you said. So how many clients are you able to take on per year?
Believing Before Seeing, a new bestseller by Candice Bar. Order your copy today.
Usually, I don't know what it is per year. I mean, I guess I could just do the math in my head. But we've put 120, 130 people through the program in 1 month before.
Wow. Okay.
So it's yeah, it's very, very leveraged. It's very, very streamlined. We've got our processes just ridiculously dialed in so that we can get people get people the result that they're looking for. Um, yeah, I mean it's very tight and very organized. So if people show up coachable, decisive, and resourceful,
Right.
it's like they can come in the program and just crush.
So I know in the beginning you had said that what got you really started on this journey was that book, The 4 Hour Work Week. What books are you reading now that
Oh
are
man.
still inspiring you?
I literally read 4 or 5 books a week.
Yeah.
Um,
Wow.
I just got done. I mean, I'll just tell you. I mean, so okay, if I had to pick some that really moved the needle, you've got your classic marketing books that every business owner should read. You got Ultimate Sales Letter by Dan Kennedy. You have Tested Advertising Methods by John Caples. You have Ogilvy on Advertising. You've got all those. Um, Psychologically wise, Letting Go by David R. Hawkins is fantastic in terms of how you deal with your fear and your negative emotions that come up whenever you're doing something outside your comfort zone. And then in terms of what I'm reading right now, I got my iPad right here. It's out of frame, but it's right there. I'm reading a biography of Alexander the Great, and I just got done reading a
I love
biography of Elon Musk and a biography of Cyrus the Great, the Persian emperor. That book can tell you everything you need to know about running a culture. So yeah, I mean, I'm just constantly reading. What's interesting is that when you're at the early stages of your business, you're like the tactician, which means you're responsible for the advertising, you're responsible for the sales. And so most of the stuff you're reading is going to be, oriented in that direction. But once you get a company up to 8, 9 figure territory, you become sort of the avatar of the culture where you're the one who is setting the culture of your whole company. And that really is its own distinct skill set. It's
absolutely.
it's different than sales, it's different than marketing, it's different than everything else. So most of the stuff that I'm reading these days pertain to creating a great culture because that's ultimately what you need to have sustainable success is you need great
Absolutely.
people operating under a great culture.
Mhm. Absolutely. Everyone on the same page, understanding what their job is, and hopefully everyone's happy.
Yep. Everybody's rowing in the same direction. Yep.
So I want to ask you this, are you a New Year's goal setter?
No.
No.
I am a constant goal setter. So like I'm just constantly setting and revising goals. And when we hit a goal, we immediately set a new one because that feeling when you were in school and you had finals coming up and you're
Yeah.
studying for finals and studying for finals. And then you take your finals and then you're like, now what do I do? Right. You don't want to, you want to set the next goal right when you're about to accomplish the first
Absolutely.
goal.
Yes.
So we're just constantly revising those things. But no, I don't really like sit down at the beginning of the year and say, okay, man, this is what I'm going to do this year because I'm just constantly doing that.
You're yeah, moving forward, on the go, forward thinking, just driving the ship.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
And for me, that's been the big point of focus for the last year. I realized that, you know, you'll go so far to survive. You'll go so far to make money. You'll go so far to, build a great business or get a great car or whatever. But what I've really tapped into in the past 4 or 5 months is just the incredible power that is available to you when you give yourself completely to the mission. I mean, I was watching someone talking to Elon Musk, and he was like, yeah, you can sue me, you can throw me in jail. Like, if you're going to stop me from getting us to Mars, you better kill me. And I
Right.
was like, damn. You know what
Yes.
I mean? Like, the power that's available to you when
Yes.
it's not about you, and it's not about the money, and it's not even about your happiness or your freedom or anything else. It's just about commitment to the mission. And that's really been my growing edge the past 4 or 5 months, is just like getting out of my own way, and because when you build a lifestyle business, there's this temptation of like, well, do I want to keep it a lifestyle business? Like right now I've got this, I can go where I want to go, I can do what I want to do, I live in a
Right.
great house with my kids, I can travel. um but the more I thought about it, the more I realized, like, yeah, that serves the mission, but it doesn't serve the mission at the level that it really could be.
Right.
And what would this world be like if I had 1,000 Megan Alfreds saving 1,000 marriages each every year,
It's
or
amazing.
my client Becky, who helps dyslexic kids learn to read.
Mm,
I mean, those are kids that can read now because we helped her get her marketing dialed in. It's
amazing.
like, how can I not devote myself to that completely? You
Yeah,
know what I
again,
mean?
life changing for many, many people. Many
Yeah.
people. You don't know, and a lot of things, not just with marketing, it's a lot of things. You don't know the impact of your actions. You don't always know.
Right. No, you don't. And as we've had our clients, we've cultivated these clients, it's like, yeah, we get excited about our clients' results, but we really get excited about our clients.
Yeah.
Those marriages that are going to stay together, those kids that are going to learn to read. My client Jamie works with parents whose daughters are like seriously at risk, and they're cutting themselves, or God knows what. And it's like, she's like literally saving people's lives. I mean, so it's like, if that's the impact that this work is having, what would happen if I just got the hell out of my own way, stopped worrying about, my time, or like my freedom, or like
Right.
wanting to kind of keep a low profile, and just dove in and
Right.
was like, look, how can I recruit and train more of those people who can go out there and give their gifts to the world?
Because the reality of it is this, because I'm in, multimedia PR. I've been in PR for a long time, 21
Right.
years. If people don't know you exist, you can't help those people.
Exactly. Yeah,
So
exactly. And so many people, and like, even like with Megan Alfred, yeah, she's working with people, but she's working with people in her office, charging them like face to face, charging them,
yes.
$100 an hour, hundred
And
fifty
you
dollars
can
an hour, or
only
whatever.
it's very limiting because you can only do so many of that.
Right.
Yeah.
You've got 40 hours in a week.
Mhm.
And it's like, and you're limited to the people that are willing to drive to you. So it's like, what's your little geographical
Yes.
area of Australia?
Totally.
And it's just that old way of doing business just really limits the impact that you can make. But
Yes.
by transitioning to this kind of online model, you can reach people all over the world.
Yes,
And it's a
absolutely.
beautiful thing.
I love that so much. Again, like we're in 2024, and I know you don't make goals, but I do want to know, what should we expect to see from you, or what would you like to see from yourself and the company by the end? I know we just started the beginning of the year, but the year goes by like that. So by the end of this year, what would you like to see happen?
Well, the ultimate mission of the company is to um, create, nurture, and lead a
Mhm.
million light warriors. And that's a word that we use, like, it's kind of cheesy, but it's a word that we use to represent these incredible transformational coaches that we're igniting and letting them move forward in the world. So that's our ultimate mission. And so our goal for this year is, right now we have about 150 people in our 1 year mastermind. I want to get that to 1,000 people by the end of the year, and we have a
Love
really
that.
crystal clear game plan for how we're going to do that. But really, it's like, I've just been holding back the last couple of years, because like I was internally conflicted, like,
Yeah.
do I want to put myself out there in a big way? Do I want to whatever? And now I'm just like, no, because that's what the mission is asking of me. And so if that's what it is, then that's what it is.
And yeah, it's much bigger than you, and you have to do the thing of the thing for the thing.
Exactly.
Mm. I really like your way, and I really like your energy. I've interviewed a lot of marketing people, and I can't say the same. So,
Oh, well, that's nice.
but I do want to ask you this, and I've asked this question so
Yeah,
many.
please.
I've had the show for a long time. I've asked everyone the same question across the board because I love the answer to this question. It's always different every single time. So, when you first started making a good amount of money that you can play with, what
Mhm.
was the first thing that you were able to get or accomplish, and then you took a moment and you're like, you know what, I'm really proud of myself, I did this?
the thing that I'm the most proud of is my dad, who was a pretty successful businessman in his own right, very successful, especially considering where he came from. Um, we would talk and he'd be like, "Hey, Russ, one day, we'll rent a private jet and we'll like go to Vegas or something." And when I really started making, good money in the
Yeah.
business, I thought to myself, I want to do this. I want to do this now. And I chartered us a G4 to go to my event in Hawaii,
Love it.
and I didn't tell him. So I was like, "Dad, I'm gonna plan this vacation. You usually plan
Yes.
our vacations." I was taking him to the airport, and you go right to go to the commercial flights, and then you go left to go to the private things. And I knew it was gonna happen. I knew we were gonna go left, and he was gonna be like, "Where are we going? What are we doing?" And then we pulled up to the jet, and he was just like, "Oh man!" And that was just like such an awesome,
I
just
love that. I
delicious
love it.
moment. Yeah, it was so great, and he was just so stoked. And it's funny because like when you're running an online business, like, and my dad's like a very savvy guy,
Yeah.
but he didn't really understand what I was doing. You know what I mean? Like, he
Right.
didn't really like, like, people don't get it. But it was when he was on the jet, watching me and my team on the jet, because I was there with like my leadership team and him. And we're planning this event. We're doing. He's like, okay, I get it now. Like, this is for real.
He's like,
You
whatever
know?
you're doing, keep doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was just so cool. That was just like the best.
I know that you said your dad was a very successful businessman in his own right. I don't know if he was an entrepreneur or not, but I think that a lot of people who are not entrepreneurs, like I'll tell you this really quick funny story. When I
Sure.
first met my boyfriend, I think I was the first entrepreneur he ever met. That
Uh-huh.
he doesn't come from that world whatsoever
Right.
or that conversation. And so for a long time, he thought I was either a madam or a drug dealer because I was waking up whenever, and then I was flying here and there, and
Right.
then just living my life and doing my thing and whatever. And he just like, and I said, well, it's funny. You thought that for a long time, which you never told me, but then you still dated me.
Yeah, he didn't care. That's like that's awesome. Was he like was he disappointed? He's like, "Oh, I thought I was dating a madam here. I'm just dating like some random business owner."
He was like, he was just like kind of always like kind of wary of me, and I didn't know that for like the longest time.
That's
I
hilarious.
know.
That's so funny. Yeah, that's great.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it is, because they don't know. They don't have any, they don't have any frame of reference. I mean, even if they get business, like online business where you are sleeping in and you are working from home, like,
Yes.
people are like, "What the hell even is this?"
And it's very interesting. It's just out of the norm. So they don't know. And even
Yes.
if because I explained it to him many times what I do, exactly how I do it. And it doesn't compute. So
That's great.
well, I'm
That's
so
really
excited to have you. I will have you back on again. You're a lovely conversation. You're full of
Thank you.
knowledge. Yeah, I'd like to have you back on, but we will stay connected for sure. And then
Yeah.
I do want to ask you one more thing before we sign off, and it's this. Is there a quote or scripture or something that when you're not having the best day and the days could be a bit challenging, is there something that you think or that you keep in the forefront of your mind that kind of helps you keep going?
Did you ever see the movie Stand By Me?
Yes.
Yeah. There's this great quote in Stand By Me that everybody kind of just overlooks, where they've snuck out of their house and they're, trekking through the forest to, find this kid, and they're sitting around the campfire, and the chubby kid, Vern, goes, "This is really a good time." And then the narrator kicks in and says, "We all knew what Vern meant.
Mm,
It was stepping out on our folks and sneaking out and all this other stuff. But it seems to me now that there was something more. Everything was there and around us. We knew
mm,
exactly who we were and
mm,
exactly what we were doing. It was
mm.
grand." And to me, that is the best definition of happiness that I've ever heard in my whole life. Is those peak moments of your life are those moments where you're absolutely present in the moment and you're not worried about the past. You're not worried about the future. You're right here, right now, having an amazing, moment with somebody that you care about. And I just remind myself of that whatever's going on, you know, whatever the problem might be, it's either in the past or it's in the future, and it's something that I'm imagining, but real happiness is right here, right now. And the more I stick to that, the better I deal with pretty much anything that comes my way.
Love that. And also too with going off of that with worrying or a problem or whatever, it doesn't matter. it's not going to matter.
No, because you
So,
can't pre-worry. Like we think we can pre-worry about something. Like if I worry about this now and I stress about it now, then if it actually happens, I'm not going to stress about it then. It's like, no, you know, you're going to stress about it when it happens. So
yeah,
just like take sensible
yes.
precautions, put your seatbelt on and get on with your day, you know,
Okay.
like don't,
Free worry.
right.
I love that. Well,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you for taking the time. Again, we will have you back on. You're great. Please let everyone know where they can find you.
Go to clientsondemand.com. You'll find everything you need to know.
Beautiful. Thank you again, Russ. Thank you everyone for listening and watching. And we will see you all again next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.